Okay, Dylan, we're fixing MLS Season Pass.
Oh, I didn't know that it was broken.
I didn't either.
Hmm.
But, as we look at things, obviously there are concerns about scheduling, there's concerns about side content. They've made some subtle tweaks, and there was the discussion, Chicken Little, the sky is falling, that Apple has an out and they're not happy with numbers. But I chose to exercise, my first time out of the show and go, we're 6 weeks in.
Yeah, exactly. That was literally what I was about to say. So, a few things on that, right? People airing grievances of the scheduling. Okay, so a few things on that.
Uh-huh.
When the decision was made to go with Apple, I'm pretty sure part of the press release was, one of the cool things we're going to do is everything is going to be at the same time. It gives it, and I liked it right away. Like week one, as I was watching the MLS 360, which wasn't broken, but it needed to be fixed, and they worked, I think, on that show, working on fixing it. But I like the idea because you get that cool decision day feel of it, where everything is kind of, now you're in the 75th minute in 5 different matches. Oh, what's going on? Oh, they're down to 10. Oh, they just scored that's a PK. Like it gets you kind of excited, I think, for that. And the schedule was released. What are we now in April? Right? I
Sounds
want
good.
to say it was released in January.
Yeah.
So you're just getting to these complaints now? Like you didn't realize in January what all those games together meant? Like I don't understand that part. And I don't side content. I'm not sure. I know teams are responsible for content. So I think on their team pages. So I think depending on how active those video teams and media teams are among the different teams, I think the more content you'll see. Yeah, I think if that's what the argument was.
Well, yeah, there were a couple of arguments. The biggest one had to do with the simultaneous action where you have folks who are watching their game, they're at their game, and there's no other way to watch anything else that they're not a part of. And then when they get home, all you have are the West Coast games. Folks are saying, maybe if you had a Friday night game and you had some Sunday stuff or more Sunday stuff, which we've had occasionally with the secondary partners, I think the fans who attend matches, especially in the Eastern time zone, are experiencing FOMO after the first 6 weeks because they want to know what's going on, everything else. They want to get home and they want to watch other things. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on that. I was going to make an NFL comparison, but to be fair, the NFL is playing on Mondays, Thursdays, not Fridays, and not Saturdays, but Sunday nights. So like 3 different time slots, at least on a Sunday.
Right.
The NFL goes that's 3, 4, 5 time slots, maybe 6 because they do like a doubleheader on Mondays a lot of times, right? So that's 6 different time slots versus pretty much 2 to 3, right? So, I don't know. To each their own, I suppose. I mean, I enjoy it. Would I like a Friday night match on its own? Maybe, sure. We'll see with Leagues Cup when that comes out. Maybe those schedules more are across the whole week, the landscape. You have Champions League as well, which obviously, there was a match last night. So I don't know. I think it's a little bit nitpicky.
Well, and at the same time, I know that and this is where the clubs have to be more vigilant in the side content.
Yeah.
Where you have some teams who are cranking it out and they're doing all the behind the scenes stuff. They're doing they're doing all of the match week stuff. They're
like behind the scenes in the locker room. Yeah.
All the BTS stuff.
Yep.
That is there. And then there are some teams that might have posted like 2 or 3 things, period. And the league has to be, more vigilant, I guess, for a lack of a better word, with these clubs about, okay, everybody needs to be releasing at the same pace. They need to be releasing the same kind of content. And I know that the teams that aren't releasing a whole lot are, looking at the teams that are releasing everything and going, man, they're sucking up to the new teacher. We know how this goes. But I think that there's got to be some uniformity in the sidecar stuff that we're not seeing right now. Once again, I get that we're 6 weeks into a discussion, but there's got to be some teams out there that you got to sit there and go, come on, man, you gotta step up your game here.
Yeah, and for all we know, those conversations or those emails or conference calls or Zoom calls might be happening, right? I mean, as you said, it's only 6 weeks in to a brand new,
10-year deal, yeah.
never seen before venture, right? So yeah, there's going to be some some issues here and there, right? Like, but I think I don't know if you can make an argument that it was better before than it is now.
Yeah, well, and folks are also talking about the price point versus the content that they're getting, and either lack of ability of watching things and all this kind of stuff. So, and folks are going to sit there, and the price point will always come up, I think, in discussions, especially about things that are new that you feel like you have to have as a part of your multi-streaming experience. And folks, in hour number 1, we're mentioning all the other places where they watch their soccer content.
Yeah. And that, listen, that's a problem. I mean, it's on, to be honest, yeah, that's an issue. There's no doubt, right? Because like I've got Paramount Plus, I've got Peacock.
Yep.
I have ESPN Plus.
Yep.
And now I've got Apple TV. So
yep. And I've got Fanatis.
Okay, you're right.
And I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, and then there are other stream.
I have my cable. I have my cable as well, which has BN Sports and things of that nature. So yeah, it's a lot. There's no doubt about it. It's. I wish it wasn't in so many different streaming services that you've got to pay $4.99 here and $10.99 there and $14.99 there. It's I think it's the way of the world, right? I think I feel like we kind of begin with when the EPL went to NBC, right? And we were also, I'm not sure, I don't know, I don't think it was just a New York cable thing. You probably had it there as well, but you had on your cable system the opportunity to watch every game like right away. And then they slowly took it away, and then they said, "Hey, we have this thing called Peacock," and then they took away the channel that it was on, right? And now it's like you'll have select games on Big Boy NBC, on USA, and then everything else is on Peacock, right? So they kind of slowly move that way, but I think they were probably ahead of the curve in terms of the streaming, and then everyone sort of else followed up, right? Like whoever has a licensing ability with any of these leagues, now they all jumped on the streaming platform because, again, you could show it on your network, but also now people are paying extra for it as well. So.
And you've got, because of the rights fees that you're paying to have the property in the first place, you've got to figure out how to defray that cost,
right,
and putting it behind a paywall, which we now call streaming services. Because when we were all new to this, and when we had like pay-per-views, we called it pay-per-views. It was a paywall, these kinds of things. But now it's a streaming service.
Dude, I have to watch. So Newcastle United, in my early days of the fandom, 99, they were in the FA Cup final. I think it was 99 against Manchester United. I had to go to a pub in Queens, in Woodside, Queens, and pay like $20 to watch it, right? Like when I wanted to watch Ireland try to qualify for World Cups in '94 and beyond, like I had to pay. It was, like you had the fee at the door, $20 a head. So we're better off now than those days, that's for sure. But
yeah, I mean, going to watch the old WrestleManias, and you had to go to the movie theaters or drop $9 gazillion to do it. Yeah. And we mentioned subtle tweaks early on for me when we talked about 360. It was more of New York and less of on site.
Right. Like stop talking. Like you want more commentary.
Stop talking.
And you said stop looking at turn your back to and they stopped doing that as well.
Yep. They're now at a table. They're at a high top. It's the four of them. And now they're laying out more. I want to hear what's going on with the local crew. You guys can talk about the match until you're blue in the face. I get it. But I want local flavor. I want Max and Dunny on site. I want Tony Husband talking about Nashville and Cincinnati. I want the local announcers and the local feel.
I would even like to take that a step further with the occasional local radio broadcast.
Ooh, like that.
If it can sync up. Like I know, there might be a little bit, like it's hard. It might be hard to go live to that. But if you could sync it up for a replay, like, here's what it sounded like, with Mike and Jason, like that, I think that would be awesome.
That's a good call.
Right.
That is a very good call.
Not always. You don't have to do it every goal. I think a live look in again, I think because of the syncing up part could be an issue. God forbid we give people more things to complain about, but I think, for that, different sounds of it, right? Here's what it sounded like on the Spanish radio side. Here's what it sounded like on the English radio side. So
yeah, I mean, especially like at the end of the night when you're at halftime of the West Coast games and you're recapping things and you pull local radio, that would be great. I think after we get through this first year, I think adding road radio would help. But I understand the technological issues that presents because that's another feed going into a production truck and having to go out and hoping that you're not crossing streams and you're not messing things up. I get that. And I know that there have been other folks like Roberto Abramovich who have been discussing having Spanish radio as an option in those markets as well. And I think that you're having all of these different technological additions are great ideas, and it's going to take time to orient them, all of this. And Coco in this morning, yes, give us road radio if road radio is on site.
Yeah, good point.
That's the hook there because, great that road radio is being called, but road radio on site as opposed to road radio from a booth in the home market, that's another different thing. Yeah, and that's the thing. How many radio crews go on the road? Not many.
Yeah.
Not many, but I think that road radio, if road radio is on site, but once again, we know the technology that's attached and all of that stuff. So there's people freaking out after 6 weeks. It's like, just let it breathe, let it grow, let them kind of find their footing. Then you can work on additions and things like that. And so that was, that was kind of what we were getting into this morning in hour number one. As a part of since we fixed the All-Star Game and since we fixed MLS Season Pass. We do this once a week, Dylan. We fix something in Major League Soccer.
You need to get the cold. You need probably rights. You probably have to pay for it, but get the cold place on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the fact that we turned the MLS All-Star Game into a self-contained Royal Rumble format.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I like it better than them playing Arsenal.
And that's the thing, is that we wanted it to be self-contained. MLS is to a point where you should be playing yourself. You don't need to be bringing in these big names. You don't need to be playing Juve, who's bringing in, U15s wearing triple numbers. You don't need to be playing Arsenal, who's bringing in academy guys, where, you might have Gabriel Jesus or Martinelli sit there and just kind of waving, from the sideline or anything like that.
Or have Pep and Caleb Porter nearly get into a fist fight.
Yeah,
that was fun.
That was fun. But
So wait, so before you get into it, before you tell me your idea, because it just hit me of an idea,
yeah,
and I don't know if it's the same kind of a. So I my take is a little bit on the NHL, and again, I don't really watch it. I watch the skills competition. I don't really watch the NHL All-Star Game,
hmm
but they do like the three aside. You can. I like the idea, kind of a couple taking from the NBA and the NHL. I like a five-a-side game.
yeah,
I like picking the teams,
yeah,
right? Like having maybe the leading vote getter or whatever it is for both. Like they get to then go and pick. Like, yeah, I'm going to take Vela's out there. I'm going to go take Chicharito. I'm going to take this guy. Whatever. Do a little five-a-side. Whatever 20-minute game, and then it's like at the playground, right? Like losers off. Next up, like challenger. Like at the like when you're playing hoops, right? Like you earn the right to be on the field. Now I have no idea what the incentive is for any of these guys to do
right,
this, but
right.
it's at least something different.
Okay, so here's what we proposed, and literally it took us an hour and 20 minutes, and we fixed it. We fixed the All-Star Game. What we proposed was basically a Royal Rumble format. You start out and you get like 40 guys, 40 or 50. And you start it with the two keepers. And you have goalie wars to start.
Yes.
Royal Rumble.
I want first of all, I want more goalie wars. Like that's to me the thing that I am most looking forward to in the skills competition.
So you start you got like a roster space of 50. And you start with goalie wars for however couple of minutes, and like I said, it's running clock 45 to 90, so regulation time. So goalie wars starts, and then every 90 seconds to 2 minutes, the buzzer goes and someone comes in. And basically it is random draw, and it's like, and it could be a modern day star, it could be somebody, like an oh, that's Sebastian Driussi's music, and you have McConaughey coming and banging the drum, So Driussi comes in, and then it
Very
turns
elaborate.
of course, but you're having fun with it. And so it could be a modern MLS player. It could be a legend in Major League Soccer.
Like Carlos Valderrama comes out.
Yeah, so literally Valderrama comes out of the tunnel through the smoke and everything, and Valderrama comes out. It could be a legend in general that is random, like Ronaldinho, and you could have it sponsored by TurboTax because, as Nick said, they all have tax problems. They need the money. It'll be taken care of right there on site by our friends at TurboTax. You have an announcer getting the call at halftime that they have to participate. Whatever they're wearing. Like if Dempsey is there and he's in his camo tux, he gets the call in the press box at half. Clint Dempsey, please report to the touchline. Please, Clint Dempsey to the touchline. And he's put in, but he's still wearing IFB and conducting microphone and conducting interviews with a hot mic on the field in that 90 seconds that he's first called in, or however long he wants to do it. Jillian Sakovits gets the call. She goes in and 2-foot somebody. Those kinds of things. There's no such thing as offside. And you can also do, and you have the low hockey boards, so that way the ball stays in play more. Gives you more of an indoor soccer arena feel. And you have to, and what you can do is you can do unlimited change. So basically, you can do fire wagon change if you want to. Like if Valderrama or Ronaldinho is only good for like 2 minutes and they start to get gassed, they can do a hot tag you hop over the boards, and you're in on an odd man rush because there's no such thing as offside. If the game is 15-13, so what? You're having fun. You're having legends. You're having all kinds of random stuff happening. The fans are engaged for a full 90 minutes. And you're having it self-contained.
You could bring in there too, like if you want to bring in like the Nickelodeon element, right?
Yeah,
you could have slime as well.
Yes.
Suddenly, like if for the 2-foot tackle, like they don't go in the box, there's slime right there.
Or when the interview happens and say Jillian or Clint asks a question and you say, I don't know, then you get green slime.
Yep.
Because that's a reference that those of us of a certain age remember. So those kinds of things, you integrate that into this thing where you're MLS self-contained. You're not having Arsenal come in with their academy kids. You're not having Juve come in with their triple digits. You're not having, well, I mean, we would like maybe Pep and Caleb Porter to have a fight. But these kinds of things, the larger message was with an all-star game, you're self-contained.
And have fun.
You're gearing yourself up toward right now. Where would you put, and this was the other part, this was the other element in this. Where would you rank Major League Soccer on the world stage right now? Where in the world rankings would you have Major League Soccer?
Good question.
Because all right, so let's look at
without even looking, or I'm probably way off on this. I want to say 8, 9. I don't know. Is that?
Yeah,
10?
that's yeah. No, I mean, okay. So let's think about this. England.
Yep.
Spain.
France, Germany.
So that's 4. Let's see. Where else are we looking at things? What other big? England, Spain, France, Germany. Then you're starting to figure out, okay, who's like there but not really.
Yeah, like I don't know enough about the
Italy 5, yeah.
Yep.
Folks are saying in the Twitch pitch right now, MLS is 11 or 12, depending. 8 to 12, I think, is a safe play. But if you are trying to get a higher ranking placement, whatever, as you're leading into a World Cup cycle, then I think you need to prove to everyone around you and to yourself, I think, to a lesser degree, hey, we are this good. We can handle things on our own. We don't need to have crutches from other leagues to help bolster our product when it comes to like an all-star format or something like that. Netherlands and Belgium are brought in by Michael Head. So, I mean, 8 to 12 is probably a safe range. I think for things like all-star games and all-star weekends, I mean, in the National Hockey League, they're not playing like the KHL. You don't have those kinds of things going on with the National Hockey League. You're not playing rival leagues. You're not playing.
But also, you're not you're not punching up either. Like you're not the NBA, the NHL, any other American league is the best league of that sport in the world. You know what I mean? So like you're not trying to prove yourself against another. Right. That said, I don't think it's weird, right? Because through all these years of MLS, like the league has taken a lot of the American element out of it and made it more of the world game, which we like. Right. Like we're not counting the wrong way, and it's not stopping the time, and it's a lot of different elements that we would see in the American soccer game. But there's still those elements, like they can't, like, I guess you need to have an all-star game, obviously playoffs are important because you win an MLS Cup for it. So, I don't really care about all-star games. Like if you don't play it, like there's enough competitions going around, with Leagues Cup and Champions League and US Open Cup and the league itself, I think to keep you occupied.
Yep.
But, I understand the reasoning for it. But I'd much rather lose All-Star Game than playoffs. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So Coco. So we've got like 12: England, Spain, Germany, Italy, France, Netherlands, Belgium, Liga MX, possibly Argentina, Brazil, and
I was thinking that too. But I don't know enough about. Like I know about the top end teams, right, in Argentina and Brazil,
and that's
right.
Like,
how good is that as a whole league?
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like if you were to take the league in its collective, as opposed to, you've got a couple of really good teams that might be financially solvent, and then the other 30 that are just, nowhere close.
Yeah,
Then
River and Boca are like obviously worldwide names, right? And like
yes.
incredible teams, but I don't know. I don't know enough about the 15th ranked team in Argentina compared to
Yes.
Austin FC.
Yeah, Jason definitely would. And then the point Vern made, if your salary cap is 10 million plus DPs, you're pretty limited in being better than other leagues anyway.
Correct, and that's the big thing. That's what you were saying before was, competition is one thing, but you need, especially if you're going to play on multiple fronts, you need to have larger roster sizes. You need to spend more money. A 40 million roster. There's a lot. We talked about luxury tax before multiple times. There's a lot of different things you can do to increase it, but that's ultimately the answer, right? Like you've got to spend more money and increase the roster size and increase the depth to then compete on those levels.
And folks are also adding the championship in there as well for England. So yeah, I mean, right now you're 11 or 12. I think that's a safe play, anywhere from 8 to 12, depending on what your perspective is. And but like I said, the biggest thing is just, it looks like you're dragging yourself down. Since we're in baseball season, he goes to the Yankees mug this morning. I see how this works. But yeah, you feel like you're dragging yourself down and thinking less of yourself by doing these mixers against teams in other leagues who aren't taking it as seriously as you, because they're in their off season. And so they're not going to bring their big guns and come in and have a situation where they might get, inadvertently hurt at practice or, get stuck in a tackle, something like that. You're not going to have these kinds of things. And so, so like I said, we just went about trying to fix the MLS All-Star Game and make it your own. And so that was a big thing that we did a couple of.
By the way, the article in the 18 would follow up after that, like MLS to be a better league, they need to take itself more seriously.
Yeah, exactly. Take itself more serious. Yeah, don't have as much fun.
Right,
like,
right.
Have fun, but don't have as much fun. Let's see. Since we've taken the entire time that you're here and talked about everything but the league, St. Louis finally lost.
Yeah, you must have been excited about that.
Well, get this. All right, so we have a fantasy league here at SDH, and the fantasy league. Oh, I'm awful this year, and so of course the 1 week that I invest in Strauss, Lewin, and Berkey, they lose.
Ouch.
Yeah, so I figured
further fueling your hate of them.
Yes, absolutely.
What
other takeaways do you have from last weekend?
How's
that for a generic question to end the segment?
Yeah, seriously. No, I think I think that's the biggest one, really, right? Like a Minnesota team that cries about never getting the respect they deserve. I think they get some now, right? They've been a really cool story, just again because they're doing it without their guy, right?
Yep.
And Reynoso.
Yep.
And now it's going to be really interesting. Is that the formula now to beat St. Louis, right? City as well. So I don't, I don't see Seattle changing because they're playing St. Louis. So that'll be an interesting one as well this week.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that was probably the biggest one. It was funny. I was going to ask you. I don't know. How are you? Are you a golf guy at all, or?
Yeah, I don't play enough. I am a golf guy, but I never get to play enough.
All right. So who's your? I'm putting you on a spot here, but who is your Masters winner? I just did a story for OSDB Sports.
There you go. Excellent.
I got to spread my wings a little bit, and I did a 15 golfers to watch at the Masters.
Okay. I mean, I could go Scheffler or something like that, but I'm going to go.
That's only happened a couple times though, right? Like you're putting him in the Jack Nicklaus, Nick Faldo, Tiger Woods category. The only three back-to-back champions in the Masters.
Yeah. So I was debating, do I go with the sentimental on a Monday finish? Because weather's gonna suck here like all weekend.
Yeah.
Apparently, the folks at Augusta National did not pay their monthly fee for the Russian weather machine that they've had.
I'm a big fan, by the way, of the Monday finish because Sunday being Easter and family obligations, it's a little bit more difficult for me to
That's true.
just lock myself in a room and watch the Masters.
True. Absolutely true. I'll go the sentimental pick, and I'll go Rory finally breaking through.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's absolutely that's a sentimental. Jason Day is another guy who's come close before, right? I wish my St. John's guy was going to be in it. I mean, he is in it, but he won't be in the mix. And Keegan Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's there's some interesting choice there. But I think that could be the one. Cameron Smith.
Yeah,
being another one as well, the Aussie. So so I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right, so we have votes for Rory or Homa or Finau, and I'll go with Rory. So what else is going with you? You mentioned
Homa's a good one too. That's a good one too, just because he's played so well, but he's sucked at Augusta. So he's gotta get over that mental block, I think, to win it. But yeah, I think Rory's the one for me. Just that's his white whale, right? Like he's done everything in the sport except win that. And he's also then chasing history of trying to get into that career Grand Slam as well. So sorry, I sidetracked you there.
No worries. Yeah, that's what Wall Pass Wednesdays are for.
And John Ram as well. John Ram is another guy I think is going to be in the mix.
All right. What's going on with you at MLSsoccer.com since you mentioned the Augusta tournament at OSDB Sports?
Yeah. Just a little bit of the usual. A quiet few days here. Wife had to go into work into the city, so it's more dad duty these next couple of days. But obviously a busy Saturday coming up. Got a big lacrosse game coming up. It's the Battle of the Sound.
Oh.
Not the hearing sound, the Long Island sound. It's Darien coming from Connecticut across the play, Manhasset. Two blue blood lacrosse programs in our area, two nationally ranked programs as well. So that's going to be 3:30 on Saturday. So
Varsity Media on YouTube. Dylan, be safe, be well. We'll catch up with you next week, and we'll fix more things.
Cheers. Go Rory.